Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. Today we're talking about 7 ways to stay creative. Keeping up a constant flow of new ideas and creativity can be difficult and is maybe even impossible, but sometimes you end up in just like a creative rut where it's like you cannot come up with ideas and it just feels like there's nothing there. Now, of course, sometimes in these situations you just need to take a break, let yourself rest, but sometimes you need to find new ways to stay inspired. So today we're going to be talking about 7 different ways that you can stay creative. I know a lot of writers have struggled with this throughout the pandemic. I struggled with this. It just felt like nothing was happening in my life, and so there was nothing to draw any sort of inspiration from. So a lot of these tips are tips that I started implementing back in 2020 to help me stay inspired and keep getting ideas. Number 1, read a variety of genres and work. I know this is probably the first thing you were expecting me to say, but really it's quite helpful. Reading is such a great source of inspiration. And if you feel like you're not getting much inspiration from what you read, try branching out. Read other genres, read other styles, read about other topics, just branch out in the type of work that you read. If you feel like you read a very narrow type of work, that's great. You know your tastes, and that's great as a reader to read what you enjoy. But sometimes as a writer, you need to expose yourself to new ideas and new concepts in order to draw inspiration from them. So try expanding what you read. Try reading a genre that you've maybe never read before. Read something that's different or out of the box. And that might be the key to kind of reigniting the creativity that you used to get from your reading. Number 2, discuss with other writers. If you have any kind of writing group or writing friends or anything like that, just talking to them about what you read and also what you're working on is a really great way to stay creative. Being able to bounce ideas off other writers, maybe getting to see your story from new perspectives that you wouldn't be able to just on your own. Especially if you're feeling kind of stuck with a specific project that you're working on, see what other creative people can bring to the table. A lot of the time, talking about your idea with someone, they'll be able to see it from a completely new angle that you could never see it from, and they'll just make a small suggestion that really clicks something. If you want to connect with other writers, we actually now have a Discord, so I'll leave a link to that in the description. Number 3, try new forms of writing. As much as it's great to branch out what you're reading, it also really helps to try branching out what you're writing as well. Sometimes the great thing about trying new forms of writing is that there's just no pressure. You know it's probably not going to be a masterpiece because you've never done it before, so you can kind of just let loose and let yourself be creative without any pressure. If you're normally a fiction writer, try writing a screenplay, or try writing a poem, or try writing a personal essay, or even just change up the style of fiction that you're using. Get a little experimental with it, write in a different genre, write in a different point of view. Change up what you're writing as just an exercise, and that can really help fuel your creativity. Sometimes in our journey to master a certain style of writing, you can kind of get stuck in a rut because you've spent so much time just focused on this one specific style or genre or topic or combination of those things that it actually starts to feel a little stale. So sometimes the key to truly mastering one style of writing is actually to branch out. Tip number 4. Write with limits. Putting constraints on your writing, whatever those constraints may be, can actually be one of the best ways to push your creativity. A lot of the time, complete absolute freedom is the worst thing for your creativity, right? Think of it this way. Let's say that you have to come up with a story concept, and someone says, come up with a story concept right now, just off the top of your head. It's very, very difficult. But as soon as someone gives you a limit, now there's something for your brain to work from and work within, and you can come up with something quite quickly. Now, if I say, come up with a story idea that's set at a zoo, you can probably come up with several ideas right now off the top of your head, just because I gave you some kind of limit. It's actually easier to work creatively within limits than within absolute total freedom. So put some kind of constraint on your writing. Maybe you're gonna try a constraint like, okay, I'm gonna write a story with no dialogue, or I'm gonna write a story with no adjectives, or I'm gonna write a story with a very small word count. You can put any kind of constraints on your writing, right? Or maybe I'm gonna write a story that's only one scene. I can only have one scene, no scene breaks. Or I'm gonna write a story that can only be one paragraph, I can't have paragraph breaks. Any kind of limits, whatever it is you want to work from. I really like doing linguistic or stylistic limits, something like, I can't have adverbs or something like that. But if you want more of like a conceptual limit, you can do that as well. Whether that's, a word count limit, things you must include, things you can't include. It's counterintuitive, but truly adding rules and limits to your writing is often what will actually spark an idea. Number 5, try intaking new forms of stories. Like I said at the beginning, it's great to read widely, but sometimes you want to even expand that beyond reading. If you tend to read a lot and maybe watch a lot of TV, maybe you should watch some movies or try reading a graphic novel or podcast. Expand the type of stories that you engage with. Sometimes a new medium really clicks something. Number 6, give feedback to other writers. If you feel like you're struggling to engage with your own work, then engage with other people's. It's amazing what helping other writers, dissect their own stories can do for your writing. First of all, it can just make you a much better writer. The more you give feedback to other writers, the more it'll help you with your own craft. It can also help you just generate ideas. You're able to be creative, not in relation to your own work, right? But when you're critiquing a story for someone that is both very analytical and very creative, you have to analyze the story, but also kind of creatively think about how to problem solve it. And that can be really great for your own work. A lot of the times if you're stuck on a story, critiquing other people will make you realize what might not be working in your own story. And finally, number 7, go to new places. As much as it's great to consume a lot of stories, sometimes there's nothing as good as going to a new place. And it can be really small, it could be, maybe I'm just gonna go to that park over there and try to write in a different setting. Going to new places doesn't have to be super far, just somewhere that you can walk to maybe. If you don't wanna leave your house, even going new places virtually, like play around on Google Maps, right? And Google Street View, places you've never been before. For me at least, that really helps get that kind of imagery going. And for me, that's the root of a lot of ideas. So I find going new places, whether that's in real life or literally just on Google Maps, is very, very helpful for generating new ideas. So that's all for today's video. My question for today is, I would just love to know what you find helps keep you creative. A big one for me I didn't talk about in this video is music. Music is such an important part of staying creative for me. So I'd love to know what helps you stay creative. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing tips every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, bye.